Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and talk a bit about what scent recognition and what Vokey is doing for COVID-19 and for bringing our life back to normal. Since COVID-19 hit us, which was around January 2020, not so long ago, it caught us, myself and my co-founder, Oren, in San Francisco. And we were there and met a few people, Chinese origin, who had actually face masks on. And we've asked them, why are you wearing face masks? And they explained to us that tomorrow a plane from Wuhan is coming to San Francisco and the pandemic is coming. So ever since then, we asked ourselves, is there anything we can do to help and mitigate this situation, help, make the world go back to normal? Initially, we said we'll put a week into it, and if the disease stops, we'll stop. But so far, we haven't stopped. And we're here a bit to talk about the technology and the notion of testing and how things are happening and what is happening in the world and what is needed to go back to normal. So I don't know if many of you know, but the White House had a bit of a small pandemic there. And they actually did have a testing regime. Abbott's rapid test, which is good rapid test, but they've used this testing regime wrong. The New York Times covered it and explained pretty intensively that testing off-label, which is what the White House has done, isn't going to help you much. And they've used this Abbott test for off-label use, which means that they used it to test people without symptoms or asymptomatic, instead of using it with symptoms, which that was the intended use of this test. And as a result, there was a pandemic in the White House, which may have cost even Donald Trump's candidacy or second candidacy. So the question is, what can you do in a workplace in order to avoid that, in order to change your testing regime? A lot has been written on it, but I think one of the most interesting things written recently was in the New England Journal of Medicine, where Michael Mina has explained extensively that the testing needs to be changed, not to look only for accuracy or where the FDA, he's criticizing the FDA there that the accuracy isn't the most important thing, but actually the most important thing is the frequency of testing. If you increase the frequency of testing, allow testing twice a week, allow 50 million tests to be done a day, then you start to have a strategy which you can cope with this disease early on. And let's see why. The current status of monitoring is really not allowing any change in the regime. That exists now in the market. When you're looking at the testing regime with labs and PCR, which are great, by the way, tests, it's just not scalable. They're not, highly scalable. And the reason you need to do many, many tests is to try and catch the disease in the beginning of it. So if we're looking at how the viral load in the PCR goes and travels during the development of the disease and since exposure, you can see that the viral load shoots up within the first few days, and the infectious period is within the first 7 to 10 days. And you see that that's where you want to test, and that's where you start getting also positive tests. But the issue is that most of the tests are usually done after the infectious period. So you're actually looking at people and you can look at a trend in a population. You can look at what's happening and get information about someone who may have symptoms and may look sick, and you want to confirm that it's COVID-19. But you're not really getting any information about what's happening while you're in the infectious period. And that's where it's very, very important now to increase the testing and get more tests out there in order to find and identify people as they're in the infectious period. So COVID-19, really creates an urgent need to have a rapid and distributed tested regime. This has been the top of the discussion, alongside with the need for getting a vaccine, which I hope we're on track to do that very soon. And the existing problem, again, in the lab setting is that they are a bottleneck. I mean, they're expensive. You need to send samples to the lab. Their tests coming back confused. You need personnel to test, and you also have the issue of how the test is actually done. In fact, I mean, when you're testing and you get a lot of false negatives as a result of the actual test. And when we're looking at what the 21st century and the advancement of healthcare is why can't we have something that is simple to use, that you get a result on spot, on site, that it could be also digital, right? I mean, we understand now that the virus mutates over time, and we want to make sure we can have something digital that can provide a result on the spot without, needing to ship another 150 million antigen tests every time that the virus changes, and also is affordable, right? When we're talking about the scale now, I think the UK government is going to be putting $40 billion in testing. It's a huge scale, and that's what we're headed for, is providing also something that is affordable. So this is a need when we're talking about when we're as medical device, people want to envision how the future needs to look. It's changing from this biological, very specific, highly expensive thought process to something that is much more over-the-counter, digital reporting, and simple and easy to use. So we came with the idea, as I said earlier, with the idea to smell. We were early on this. I think we proposed our first proposal to the European grant in the beginning of February 2020, with the idea that the disease could be smelled. And there is now building of evidence that this disease, the COVID-19, can be smelled and sniffed. There are dogs that are already trained. I think dogs is a great idea to smell COVID. It's not really scalable, but other than that, it's a great idea. There has been a recent publication on The Lancet that the COVID disease has smell and has volatile organic compounds, is what we call, in order to detect it. And actually, NanoScent has already tested more than 3,000 people in our clinical development as well. A bit about smell and its history. So smell, if you're looking at it, and the Enos, or the notion to make smell, is something that has been around for the past 20, 30 years in the traditional ways of Enos. The detection of diseases, the detection of or use of Enos has caught our mind. I mean, and it's very exciting. I think there's a recent publication by Professor Noam Sobel, who's kind of invented a new way to transmit smells and transmit scent. So it's a very exciting space, which has been advancing hugely these past couple of years because of the advancements in nanotechnology and the advancement of this type of technology, which allows it maybe or potentially to be part of this solution for COVID-19, or maybe even the game changer in getting back to normal. So a bit now this is what brought us to here. I mean, to date, years of development, years of innovation to bring Vokey, which is what NanoScent has developed to pick up the smell of COVID-19 patients. It's a very easy test where we have a very simple bag here, a solution. I'll demonstrate it very quickly. You have a breath bag where all you need to do is you need to close one nostril, take a breath in, and breathe. Now you can see the air trap in our bag is locked inside. And in here you have the sample of air from my breath, which is not necessarily containing a COVID disease, but here's what we're collecting is the body's response to the disease or to any disease. And that's what we're doing here. Once we finish collecting and blowing air into the air trap, we would take off the tip, remove the tip of the bag. Now the air is secured in here, so there's no fear of it running off. And we insert it into our, we call this a scent reader, the Vokey scent reader. It has an input here, and you would put it in and activate it. I will ask someone to help me while activating while we continue to explain it. So it's a very simple activation. As you've seen, very easy to inflate. It's very easy to activate. It's digital. It reports all the information back to the regulatory bodies. It's updated constantly. So you have a constant update of algorithms using machine learning to make sure that the most accurate test is available. The overall result, takes a cycle of measurement of air, breath air from the bag. You can hear the device now working and operating into a small, tiny chamber, which is where the sample is sampled, and we look for the resistance change or the resistance pattern of our sensors that we've designed and developed here in order to pick up the unique frame and the unique pattern of VOCs. VOCs stand for volatile organic compounds that the body has in response to the COVID-19 or to other upper respiratory diseases. Now, our goal here at NanoScent, in our mission here, was to screen patients. So our goal is to find suspicion and to use Vokey to find people who may be suspected for COVID-19. And we think this is also a very good approach because that is scalable. You could potentially have 2 tests a week. You could have 10 stations in your workplace and allow many people to get tested and feel more comfortable about sitting in their hybrid now workplace or coming back to work and bringing their innovation back into the office. Now, if they're found suspected, which is probably unlikely on a routine day, but you want to make sure, while you're coming back to work, that you're contributing to your peers and making sure everyone is safe. So it's probably unlikely, but when you're found, suspected, what you would need to do is just to go and get a further test or isolate yourself for a couple of weeks. And I think this is really the goal from our perspective, is not to necessarily diagnose, but to screen people and to screen more people on the ability to bring back and open up the workplaces safely. Now, as we were testing, you can see here, I checked myself on the way back to work, and you can see we are COVID-free today. Pretty simple, pretty quick, and that's very exciting. And really, when we're looking at this, and we welcome our approach. We've been sharing a lot of information out there and providing, the ideas of how to use volatile organic compounds on different technologies, not only on the NanoScent approach, because our idea is to try and meet this unmet need where we have the ability to detect not only this disease, but maybe other diseases with using this type of technology. The sensors we've designed at NanoScent are manufactured here. We're based in the Galilee, in the north of Israel, in Teradion industrial area. We manufacture the chips, the sensor chips, the special coating. We have a team of 6 brilliant PhDs in nanomaterials and in algorithms and in biochemistry. And the idea here we have is to really make something here at the highest quality possible. We did not start this for COVID-19. We started this for healthcare and other applications. But here's a nice way where we were able to shift our technology to be part of a solution and of getting and bringing back life to normal. And as we see, this will take time, and we welcome more companies to do the same. The technology we have, has been proven beforehand with a great ability, the sensors to separate different chemical characteristics. You can see here an example of detecting 10 different VOCs, or volatile organic compounds, which are contributing to the presence of COVID. Their actual presence means that there could be or not be a suspicion for COVID-19 or an upper respiratory virus. Over 100,000 tests that we've done here in our lab using our technology over the past 3 years since we founded. Yeah, and hopefully, by continuing the effort, which we have been very fortunate to receive support both from investors and the European Union, which provided a very large grant of nearly 10 million euros to continue this effort. We hope to very quickly bring to the market a very simple to use a digital and affordable testing that provides on-site result that potentially could prevent the next White House fiasco, and also potentially provide a solution for workplaces to come back and enter work again and get tested twice a week and work in our nice work environment. I don't think things will necessarily go back to normal 100% as they used to be before. But from our discussions, I mean, with our customers and early users, again, we're not approved yet for use by the FDA or the CE, and we're now in the process of reviewing it. But we do have early customers, and their feedback, I mean, they're seeing this as part of a solution that will allow them to reopen their workplace because it's affordable and they get results on the spot. It's something that they're looking very much forward to continue the creativity and the innovation they have. As a background, just information, the use of smells is something that you could use for detecting gas. I mean, in power plants, that's a pilot we've done in 2018 with the refineries here in the north of Israel. We're going to be launching at the Consumer Electronics Show some feces-based detection for improving healthcare and wellness. We also have some other applications related towards industrial and environmental aspects of mold and rot in fruit. So the use of smell is not limited to disease or to COVID suspected. It's a broader use, which we see in the future. Let me tell you a bit about a nice test case we've done recently with the Premier League. We have tested 324 subjects, and this is subjects that are being tested in parallel to the polymer chain reaction test, the PCR test. So you can see here, this is all the workers and employees who are coming to football matches in the UK are required to be tested with the COVID-19 testing. And NanoScent had here a stand where we did a 2-week trial to test our technology. And it was actually very interesting to see the players, football players, preferred using the NanoScent technology over the PCR. Obviously, we requested to have a match between them because it was just a pilot to confirm the technology. But the user experience feedback we had was that NanoScent technology is 10 times better than putting something up your nose or spitting even into something, just by having a small disposable single-use bag that you put in and blow air into. It's a much more comfortable, much more easier to use, much more convenient to do. It's really a robust solution that they have provided. That was the feedback. I mean, the operators that were trained on it, beside our employees that were out there, got trained on using this technology within less than a day. Actually, within less than 2 hours, they were experts, and that's really reassuring. And from a reliability perspective, at least in this subset of the group, we have a 99% correlation to the polymer chain reaction, which basically meant we sent 2 people out of this group that we suspected they had COVID-19, and we sent them to have further testing, whereas the real test, or the gold standard, said that they did not have. So those are 2 false positives in this group. I want to say, I mean, and put a disclaimer here that we're still in the development and improving the robustness of this solution and this technology. The challenge becomes when you have positives, and the challenge becomes also more important when you're having changing environments. So we are improving our technology to be able to adapt to changing environments. It's still a big issue with this technology that is still, we've been working on it for the past 3 years and advancing and growing with revenues and customers, but it's still in the infancies of the technologies and how widely it will become. But we think, I mean, we're working aggressively towards it. We have more than 30 people on our team, but we think that this is something that will be part of the solution. We think that NanoScent will be part of the solution for getting back life to normal, for going back to schools, for going back to the life we knew beforehand, for having more tests done. I think the market will need hundreds of millions of tests, and there's room for many more companies, I think, that also need to come up with innovative solutions like NanoScent to bring our lives back to normal. That in 2-3 years, I mean, hopefully we can have a new normal to live in and go back to the workplaces we like working, and going back to the theater and football matches and fly again. So we're very hopeful, and we are grateful for the opportunity also here to take part of this solution. Thank you very much.